Looks like there were some kids here, and I guess they were having a good time because they wrote in chalk, Happy Camper, made a little camper and happy face. And when I first looked at some of the sites, I thought, oh look, they made the numbers colored, but I think some little kid went around and colored the numbers on the sites. Some more up here, looks like they're playing hopscotch. Oh, here's a big sun on the lake. Isn't that pretty? Let's see, we got another 39. and this one says, best site ever. So see if you got kids. You got lots to do. Go color some chalk along the way. They even colored the site of our campsite, number 21. They went all around this whole loop and chalked them out to make them look prettier. Hi, I'm Jill.
And I'm John.
And we're the Geezers on the Go. In this episode, we're at Santee State Park in Santee, South Carolina, and it is truly a great place for kids of all ages. Santee has 2 campgrounds, more than 150 sites, most with water and electric, 10 miles of trails, 2 boat ramps, and Lake Marion is one of the premier bass and catfish fisheries in the nation. We're here at Santee State Park. This is the Cypress View campground, a little slightly newer one. And we're at site number 21. It has a little more gravelly base than the other one, this Lakeview. It's more sandy. Doesn't have as many trees either. It's our first time at this particular area, because we had to change plans, and this was one of the few open spots for a holiday weekend after they told us, oh, we're doing construction at the other place. But anyway, so we're here. Got all my things out. It's not a bad site because we back up to some woods. And there are doing this, our taxes, right? And back there are some, you can walk back there are some trails that go back there. And even though we're not right on the lake, it's just a short walk. I did it yesterday, and it's only 1/10 of a mile down the hill to the Lake Marion. There's 2 loops here. There's the first loop up there is closer to the entrance, and this one has the inner loop and outer loops. We're in the second half of the loop, and this one's inside here, and there's a couple of pull-throughs, and I don't know, wish the people with tents didn't have a pull-through. Probably could have gotten that one for the next couple days, but it's decent sized sites. Most of them are pretty level, and like I said, only a short walk over to the lake. This one comes with a pick. They're all here, water and electric, and they have a fire ring and tables. And just down the road you have access to where the boat launch is. And where we were would have been nice close to the bathroom, except they're renovating and it was closed. So we have to go all the way to the other end of this first loop. But it's a pretty day today, finally warming up. These sites on this part of the loop, they're in the 30s, are pretty nice because they're looking right out to the lake, and you can walk down. It's a little steep, but you can walk down to the lake and get a pretty good view. And just 1/10 of a mile from our campsite, you could come down here. There's a little path that takes you right down to the lake. And it'll be good if I don't fall down on some of these exposed roots. I suppose if you had a kayak or a small boat, you could probably walk down through here and launch. There are some rocks and some old logs, but all in all, you probably could do it. Again, one of the good things of being retired and being geezers on the go is that when the weekend is over, everybody leaves. This guy here is getting ready to leave. This whole row had campers, and now there's nobody.
This is the Lakeshore Campground, the Lakeshore Loop. We've camped on this side a few times. And while the campsites themselves are a little bit more primitive, we sort of enjoy this side better. As you can see, they do have some pull-throughs here as well. But most of the sites are not, there's no gravel on them or anything. They're just dirt. Yeah, we can see the lake now. This is Lake Marion, part of the Santee Cooper reservoir system.
These are the campsites just opposite the lake. Some of them are pretty good, some of them are kind of uneven, but you sort of have to walk through and decide which ones were good. We found a few, but unfortunately none of them were ones that we could get in for over the weekend, so because we had to change dates, but it'd be worth coming here again. You can see there's some campsites in there in between the trees. Here's the bathhouse. This road needs a little work. It's got lots of potholes in it. At least the Cypress view one is a little bit better paved. But it's a newer campground. I think they did it after one of the hurricanes. There's also 2 really nice boat launches at the park, and they can get pretty busy in prime fishing months. Or how about fishing from your front door in these unique cabins on stilts? You can walk out to the end of the walkway here and you have your cabin is right over the water. Pretty cool. There's another one down at this end. Here, this added feature we talked about before at Santee is that they have cabins. They're a little bit bigger than cabins if you ask me, but as you walk out on here onto the dock, you have cabins here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them, right along the lake. And then they look right out onto the lake, the arm of the lake here. Can't go swimming here, but that's okay. But they do have, this looks like somebody's here, there's a couple of bicycles, a cool longer dock, picnic tables, and you can go fishing from right off of here. And they have their own little private pier where you could bring your boat, and somebody's, looks like they're using the little dock there to take a snooze. The cabins out here out on the pier also has a fish cleaning station. You could clean up your fish. And then their picnic table, and there's some grills. Looks like there's lots of turkey vultures here that must come and steal your food, and they might cause some damage to your car and things, so be careful.
We've been coming here since the late 80s sometimes, so we're not newcomers here, and we've seen some changes over the years. This campground, the Cypress Loop, wasn't even here then, was it?
No, this one's a little more better paved and has some gravel sites, whereas opposed to the Lakeshore one is more dirt, and you got to watch that road coming in. It's pretty bumpy.
Yeah, it's getting kind of rough. The other thing that changed quite a bit is one of our favorite restaurants isn't there anymore.
No, it was called. Had lots of good food. Catfish. That was the old menu said it was only like $6 for a whole big plate of catfish that fell off the plate.
we ordered, when we ordered the catfish, it was the head and tail were hanging off the plate. So, but what happened? It burned down.
It burnt down a couple
10-15 years ago.
Yeah. But both campgrounds are really nice. It depends on what you like. I think the Cypress might be a few dollars more because it is paved, but the Lakeshore is a lot bigger. There's over close to 150 sites there, where here there's about 50.
Yeah, and the sites at Lakeshore are a little bit more private, a little bit more spaced out. This is more like, one after the other kind of, but it's still very nice.
And this end, the Cypress end, you're closer to where the office is. And there's a nice little store that also has a little room that's if you want to watch TV and that kind of things. But if you are staying here and you're planning coming with friends, make sure you know which campground you are in, because the two campgrounds by car are 5 miles apart.
Yeah, there is a trail system that links the two campgrounds. It's about 2 miles, but still that's quite a hike to go visit.
Right. Just a short walk from the campground, Cypress Campground, there's a cool little playground area for the kids. Get them out of your hair, walk down, and then there's a bathroom over there. You're good.
And a little farther down the road is another prime attraction of the park, the sinkholes. Some of them millions of years old. We're at the trailhead now of the Sinkhole Trail, and you can see why it's named the Sinkhole Trail. There's a barricade around it that's fenced off, so nobody will go stumbling, bumbling into it, but so I can't show you straight down into it, but it goes down quite a ways. This is the trail that we saw a monster alligator on. I don't know how big he was. He must have been about 40 foot. Well, maybe 10 foot. And Jill did manage to get a few pictures of him, but she didn't want to get too close.
So he might look a little out of focus.
he was probably not going to do anything because it was still kind of cold and damp, and he was looking pretty lazy at the time, but he was still big.
It's another part of the sinkholes. This one is sort of filled with water. They said there's lots of these limestone sinkholes across the state of South Carolina, and they just sort of break down and then fall in.
From sinkholes to sunrises, what really draws most people to this lake is its 110,000 acres of primo fishing. On our first trip here 40 years ago, we saw an older couple dragging a flathead catfish up the bank with a shovel handle through his gills. It must have been at least 4 feet long. Lake Marion and adjoining Moultrie Lake are still among the best places in the country to fish for bass, stripers, and catfish.
There's a few things to do here. It's not, I would say, a big touristy area. It's more of a little quiet campground.
It's a fishing
campground
area,
probably. Yeah. But there is a few things to do. Just about 10 miles going back over the I-95 across the bridge, there's the Santee Wildlife Management Area that you can go fishing there, and there's lots of opportunities. Plus, they have the old Fort Watson and an Indian burial grounds.
Yeah, and Fort Watson was one of the first forts that was captured from the British during the Revolutionary War.
By who?
By the Swamp Fox, General Francis Marion.
Which is the whole big area here. A lot of it's called the Francis Marion National Forest.
Yeah, and I remember the swamp fox from Disney.
Yeah, with Leslie Nielsen.
Yeah, Leslie Nielsen.
But it's a nice little thing to do. Just it's free, and there's some plaques and things, and it tells you about the battle. So it's a nice place to go just for a day. There's also Santee. The town of Santee is just about 5 miles from here, and there's some shops and stores. There's a real cool general store that has ice cream and different sauces and for your barbecue.
Quail eggs.
And all kinds of other stuff. But also, go back to the Swamp Fox. If you go about 25 miles a little south of here too, you can go to his resting place. He'd have his burial
Yeah, we
grounds.
haven't been there. We'll make it one of these years.
Right. But all in all, Santee is just a pretty place to come if you just like the quiet. We're here at the Santee Indian Mound in Fort Watson. And these big mounds you see in the background were once used as Indian burial grounds. And there was once a fort here. Fort Watson. It's part of the Santee National Wildlife Refuge area.
What is this here?
Well,
this is basically commemorating the Battle of Fort Watson, which was I think it says over here, it's the first post in South Carolina retaken from the British in 1781 as part of the Revolution.
And who was the general?
Well, one of them was General Francis Marion, who later became known as the Swamp Fox. And Disney immortalized him in a miniseries starring Leslie Nielsen.
Yes, all us other
back
geezers.
In the 50s, yeah.
Or 60s, all us other geezers probably remember Swamp Fox. You could probably even sing the tune.
Oh, I don't remember the tune, but I remember the Swamp Fox.
There's a little history here, that Fort Watson, and it says it was located actually on top of the Indian Mound, and it was used by General Francis Marion, Swamp Fox, who forced the British to surrender and secure for his men badly needed ammunitions and supplies for the new country, possible new country, and South Carolina.
Mounds like these were built all across the eastern United States. This probably being one of the easternmost of these type of Native American mounds. There seems to be a misconception that they were burial mounds, and that's probably not true. They were considered ceremonial mounds, and they'd build little temples on top of them. Jill is walking up the stairway to the top of this Indian mound. Hello, Jill. She's about halfway up there now, and I think I'm going to start my way up.
Well, we're now on top of the mound, and it said that the Santee Indians who lived here around the 1200s, 1400s, and there actually were mastodons that inhabited this area. Ooh, that would have been something to see. That come lumbering down the trail, huh?
Beats a buffalo any day. I think it's fascinating that this Battle of Fort Watson included two of the most renowned, or at least most famous, of the Revolutionary War officers on the United States side, and that being Lieutenant Colonel Henry Light Horse Harry Lee and Francis Marion the Swamp Fox.
Okay, enough Swamp Fox. As fascinating as he is, we have to turn the page on history and move on down the road. Thanks so much for tagging along, and as always, we hope to see you down the road.